somehow they cannot resist him. So they come as if attracted by that light. How the flies come to the light. So that's how youth come to Vivekananda. Wherever you go, Vivekananda, everybody loves Vivekananda. So so why Vivekananda again? The question actually comes. I'm a great believer in this creation, in the sense of a God presiding over it, not in the way we ordinarily understand it, but there's a particular way the world goes on. As Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, he comes in every age. Whenever there's a decline of dharma and the rise of adharma, to protect the world, he comes again and again. So not only does he come and again and again, he also sends some generals again and again. So Vivekananda himself said, suppose there is some problem in some part of the world, one general is appointed. So suppose that general goes off, some other general is appointed to that particular position. So like that, I firmly believe that Swami Vivekananda was one such general who was appointed by the Lord himself to guide us in the right direction. I have thought deeply over it. It may sound a bit fanatic because I study Vivekananda, but if you really go deeply into Vivekananda literature, whatever he has said, you'll find that there is a wonderful line, a wonderful theme in his life, that whatever he has said, the way he lived, has some great importance for us. So anchors, there are wonderful people. There are so many of them. But in this current age, I find that that role has been taken up by Swami Vivekananda. That is molding the destiny of the human race. So that's what these great people come to do. And I am thoroughly persuaded that Vivekananda was one such person, a divinely appointed person who has come onto this earth. As his guru said, he has come to preach the mankind. And Mother also said, he is the condensed essence of Sapta Rishis, that highest knowledge that a human being can possess. So this is what I feel of Vivekananda as a person. Then coming to the practical aspects of Swami Vivekananda's life. So what do we see today? So going back to the history, after when Swami Vivekananda himself was there, what a current is set up, to change the destiny of mankind. So we all know that he traveled across India. Then he went to the United States of America. Then he made that beautiful speech. So there we see the renaissance of the whole Indian culture, Indian nation. So not only that he deformed India, he gave a new direction to India, but he also brought India and the world together. And not only that, he brought about the harmony between the East and the West. So, even today, those who live in India, those who live in the Hindu culture, we may profess that we have the highest things, there is nothing to take from outside. That was our attitude many centuries back, and that's what led to our degradation. But Swami Vivekananda, he traveled across India. He was well acquainted with the Indian philosophy. He was well acquainted with the Indian Hindu culture, our past history, and he was also very well acquainted with the Western philosophy. And he personally went to the West. He saw what was happening there, and he was a great student of history also. So he could see where humanity is heading towards. So it's not just that we stay in our little well. Vivekananda told this famous story in the Parliament of Religions. Hindus, he's in this little well. He thinks the whole world is the little well. And the Mohammedan, he says also in his little well, he thinks the whole world is that well. Christian also think the same thing. But really, the ocean is so big. The well is very small, but we are so confined that we think we are the greatest people on this earth. No, humanity has been progressing everywhere. So Swami Vivekananda wanted to harmonize this. That is, whatever the mankind has achieved, either in the field of spirituality or in science or in any aspect of human life, whatever the human being could do, he could bring it under the purview of the whole human race, to applicable to every individual. So it's important for me to know what are the possibilities of man and not limit myself to wherever I belong to. So this going out of oneself to universalize, to become broad, that's what Vivekananda did. And then we see Vivekananda, he started this Ramakrishna Math mission, through which even today we are getting such a spiritual wealth coming into us and to the entire mankind. And then we spoke about freedom fighters who were inspired by Vivekananda, who gave their all to liberate India. And we know Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, and I just mentioned people like Chakravarti Rajagopalachari. If you should read the tributes, starting from Vivekananda literature, I will ask you to read the tributes given to Vivekananda by these eminent personalities. Maybe I am not a great authority to certify Vivekananda, but you should really read what people have said about Vivekananda. That will give you a perspective to understand him. We trust everybody in this world, but when it comes to this spiritual matter, somehow we have a tendency to believe that spiritual people are fraud. No, it's not that way. Spiritual people are the greatest people, and sometimes we do need an explanation. We do need, an authority to say about them. So you can, when you want to read Vivekananda, I really think you should start with reading the tributes given to him by people who knew him, people who were with him, and people who studied him, who were inspired by him. It carries even unto the current day. What Vivekananda, that great energy he left into this world, the great inspiration, the great vision he gave to all of us, that carries unto the current day. And to understand Vivekananda himself, we must always go to those people who had the fortune of associating with him. And Sister Christine, I mean, she was really one of those very blessed souls, highly blessed souls. And you must read her very elaborate tribute she has given to Swami Vivekananda. You practically get tears in your eyes because she was a foreigner. She really had the fortune, and you must read the letters Swami Vivekananda wrote to her. I'll come to that part so a little later. The letters of Swami Vivekananda, but these tributes that these world movers, the great people, the simple people also, whatever they told about Vivekananda, you must start with that because that will give you a correct perspective to know whom you are approaching, whom you are going to study. So those people who had that fortune, those who did great things by seeing him, I mean, that be the real good introduction to read Vivekananda. So kindly read the book Reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda. I would really start with that. So I think to understand Vivekananda, you must read the Reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda. By it's a very big book is there, so you should go through that book. I think it's easily available online for free of cost. Also, you can get the printed book from any of the Ramakrishna Math mission centers. So we'll start with that. Uh, so that will give us a perspective of what Swami Vivekananda was. So then I said earlier, he was a very pious, austere soul whose life was totally based on purity. So, what is the explanation? Why we need to worry about the purity of a person? Because what a person lives, the life he leads is very, very important. Swami Vivekananda himself used to say, a person may be very bad in character and can be good in physics. A person can be very bad in character and can be a very good musician. It's quite possible. But in religion, a person has to be pure and perfect. Then only he can be religious. And Vivekananda himself was that. So you read his life, the purity was burning in every pore of his body, you can say. So that purity, so when the person has that purity, that level of super conscious experience also, he was very meditative, he had a great knowledge and very rational mind. So when these people, and he was a seer in the sense he could see things, what we say in a religious language, a seer is a person who can foresee things. The things reveal themselves to him. So such powers come to people who practice that brahmacharya, that austerity for a long time. And Vivekananda, all along his life, he practiced that. So he had the history, knowledge of history and all that. Personally, he was a very austere and pure person. So that then he felt immensely for people and he wanted to discover truth. So he lived his life to discover truth. These are very important things because all these things constitute a personality of a person. So when you see Vivekananda, his whole life was dedicated for the realization of truth, to spiritual practices, to knowledge. So when such a person speaks, there is immense merit, immense knowledge, and immense benefit for the entire mankind. So when we approach Vivekananda, we must have that reverence towards him. You can be critical about him. Vivekananda never denounced criticism. That is quite fine, but you should approach him with an open mind, knowing what he was. So simply sitting in the corner of a room and people write so many dubious things. Vivekananda is not someone whom we can comment from the roads. He was such a great person. So you should be really mindful of when talking about Vivekananda. I'm actually afraid to talk about Vivekananda today because he's such a great personality. I was really thinking like if I'll be able to do justice to even take his name. But anyway, I have to take it because I've been asked to. But I tell you, when you take Vivekananda's name, be very clear, uh, be very cautious, because you are taking a name which has written purity all over it. And I think, that Sri Ramakrishna, if somebody criticized Narendra, he used to say that the place has been defiled. They used to sprinkle Ganga water on it. It may look like some kind of a belief. No, it's not like that. Because, of course, Sri Ramakrishna could see, he was a seer, but we should understand that Vivekananda was a very great man. So that approach we must have, that reverence we should develop. So unless we have it, see, whatever he says will appear like, some kind of a tamasha to us. But it's not a tamasha. His life is something very serious. He's someone who is standing there and guiding the destiny of entire mankind. So with what reverence we have to approach him. So that is very important. So make sure that when you study Vivekananda, for time being, you forget all other things and be entirely focused on it, because few things in life, like parents and our gurus, the spiritual gurus in particular, and these great prophets of mankind, they are very sacred. So you cannot mess up with those things. So that is, I really request you, because you're all here, you want to read, hear about Vivekananda, but you know that Vivekananda was simply an extraordinary person, a pure person, a godly person. In fact, one person wrote, if you read the letter, you'll come to know, when he was in America, sometimes the Christian missionaries used to, broadcast all kind of negative things about him. People used to invite Vivekananda to their house. Then these missionaries will go to their home and tell some negative things about Swamiji. When Swamiji went to their home, the doors was closed. And Swamiji, like, he was not even knowing why it's happening. Then a conversation takes place between two ladies. One lady writes to another lady as saying, Vivekananda, people are saying against him so many negative things. She didn't know Vivekananda. Then this lady writes back to her saying, this is a man who walks with God. So this is not something an Indian is not saying this. It's a foreigner who is saying this, who lived with him. So she knew what Vivekananda was. So she actually writes, this is a man who walks with God. So with what reverence we have to approach him. So that's the first thing I really want to make sure, that when we study Vivekananda, when you read Vivekananda, know that you are dealing with something very sacred. Then Swami Vivekananda, so he understood the depth of human life. So we all talk about evolution. We all talk about a purpose behind human life. It's very important for us, though we may be immersed in our own activities. We do so many different things in life, but ultimately there's something called as the destiny of human life. So Vivekananda, somebody asked him, does he believe in the theory of evolution, that we have come from lower animals? He said he believes in it. In fact, in many of his lectures, if you read Macrocosm especially, he actually says, that we start from protoplasm and we traverse all these phases and eventually become a Buddha. Buddha is an enlightened being, basically. So every human being, or every being, you can say like that. So starting from the lowest amoeba, the protoplasm, earlier than that, goes up to Buddha. So this is one cycle of every individual. So this is, transcending this little life we are living now. I may be an engineer, you may be some doctors, there may be so many different people in different professions, but this is all temporary. We know that science has declared, and we have accepted that we evolve. So we evolve from such a lower beings to until here, and still we have to evolve further. And that highest evolution is called that enlightenment, or the Buddha state, or you can say Sarvajna also, you can say one who knows everything. So that state. So Swami Vivekananda, if you read some of his lectures, there is refers to these things. He says some great people, when they come to this world, they live the entire human life in one single life. That is, the entire cycle of an individual from protoplasm to the highest Buddha is lived in those lives. So Vivekananda himself lived that life. That is, whatever a being has to pass through, so many hundreds, thousands lives we have to pass through, come at perfection. Vivekananda had attained to the perfection. He stood at the pinnacle of evolution, and from there he guides us. So when we read Vivekananda, we find a deeper purpose to our lives. So there's wonderful saying, people always talk about arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That's well and good. So we apply it respectively to our particular sphere of life, our particular profession. We apply it. But when actually Swami Vivekananda said that he applied it to the highest point of life, that is to realize our true nature, that we are God. There is no compromising on this. When I said Vivekananda came to show direction to mankind, he just didn't address common problems. Common problems will be there. There are so many people to speak about those problems, but Swami Vivekananda, he believed that man should be taught that he is divine. So when you know that you are divine, that is our real nature, the purity is our real nature, then life assumes a greater meaning. All our problems, all our complications, all our struggles, everything that we do gets a purpose perspective. And then when you know that we have to attain to the divinity as the ultimate goal of our lives, the whole life finds a meaning. We see so many people having no higher ideal in life. Vivekananda himself said that, unfortunately, in this life, we see that a lot of people are without any ideal. And he continues to say beautiful words about that. That is, if a man with an ideal makes 10,000 mistakes, a man without an ideal makes 50,000 mistakes. Therefore, it's better to have an ideal. So, ideal, the highest ideal that we can have is that we are divine, that everybody is divine. So, this is a central theme of Vivekananda's philosophy, to teach that every human being is divine. So, this, when you read Vivekananda's literature, this is a thing maybe expressed in different words, different ways of expression, maybe it's there, but the underlying idea is that each soul is potentially divine. So if you remember this, you'll be able to understand Vivekananda's teachings really well. So know that each soul is potentially divine, and the goal is, what is the goal? It may be divine, but the goal is to manifest this divinity. And he says, my ideal, that is Vivekananda's ideal, is to teach unto us that we are divine. First thing, we should know that we are divine, and how to make the divinity expressed in every action that we do, every moment of our lives. We should be able to express the divinity. So when you remember this, you will find that your life has got a meaning. So if you really it's difficult, of course, I say, quoted earlier, an ideal is always difficult. I may talk about it now that I want to express divinity in all my actions. Next moment, I may go out and may not do very divine actions. It's quite possible, but that does not mean that I must give up the ideal altogether. So yes, we may make mistakes. We can do wicked things. Man tells lies. He commits sins. Swami Vivekananda says, but in the end, you will realize that he is God also. So that is the two things very clear in Vivekananda literature. That is, we are divine. Ultimately, we are going to reach that state only, whether you are willing or not, whether you consent to it or not. So the divinity will be forced upon you by nature. So we are going to realize it. Everyone is going to realize that they are divine, they are perfect. We have to attain to that perfection. But this is the one perspective that you have to take when you read Vivekananda. That is the underlying divinity of each and every individual, every soul in this world. So when you start understanding these things, when you start looking around the world with the eyes of seeing the divine around us, the whole world changes. We will be able to deal with our own imperfections better. Sometimes it's very much easy to get a feeling of inferiority complex due to some limitations that we may have. It can be any limitation. We may not be able to speak well, we may not look very well, you may not have good hearing capacities, or you may not be very intelligent. So there are so many reasons to make us feel inferior. But Vivekananda comes to everyone's aid, and he actually said that each soul is potentially divine, and however while a man may be, the divinity does not die. So in the most criminal person is there, still the divinity exists in him. So he does not know the truth and is waiting for the truth. So let us keep this thing in my mind very well. That is, we are divine. So having the idea that we are divine, and that the purpose of our life, and the purpose that Swami Vivekananda gives to us is to manifest the divinity in each and every moment of our life. So if we remember this, not only our lives will become better, and I'm talking about Vivekananda literature, understanding it, definitely we will be able to understand Vivekananda far, far, far better when you approach him with this perspective that we have to become divine. So this is the underlying thing in Vivekananda's literature, and he himself wrote to Sister Nivedita that is, my ideal indeed can be put into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every moment of life. So when you read Vivekananda, always remember that this is the thing he wants from us. Vivekananda literature is so special because it is relatable. I always say this, it's relatable to us. You may read some book, a fiction, some non-fiction books also you can read, but you may not be able to relate your lives to them. If that is the case, there's really not much use in reading Vivekananda also. It's important to know that Vivekananda's literature is very applicable to us, is relevant to us. And if you really read through the lines, you'll find that almost wherever he has written, whatever he has done, has some meaning to our life. Some applicability is definitely there. So this is another perspective you should take. Don't read Vivekananda like you're reading, some novel. It's not a novel. It's something that is that can change our lives. So we should approach Vivekananda literature from that perspective also. When I read that book, Be One with God, this was the theme I had in my mind. That is, I knew that Sri Ramakrishna has said that Naren has come to teach the world, and of course I've been reading Vivekananda for a long time, and I knew that whenever he has said so many things, they're very much relevant to us, very much applicable to us. So if it's not applicable, if it's not relevant, what is the point in a gathering like this? What is the point in discussing about Vivekananda? That makes no sense. So it's important, not only because we are doing this, but actually it's true that when you read Vivekananda, you will find a great meaning coming into your lives. And never mind where we are. So, a lot of the times people get into this mind of thinking. So he's reading Vivekananda, but he's not perfect. I can tell you, it's not only my case. I have seen many sadhus also who are not perfect. If I want to point out, say I can point out, but that is not the question. None of us are here perfect. We are born here because we're imperfect. To become perfect is our goal. But this idea of attaining to perfection, to attaining to our divinity, is something that we always get from Vivekananda's literature. And there's another thing I just wanted to point. Then to understand Vivekananda, so where do you start? I just said you have to start from the reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda by so many people who knew him, have written about him. And then I think one very good book is there, that is Swami Vivekananda on himself. So a beautiful compilation has been made by one Swamiji, whose name is not disclosed. He wanted to remain anonymous. So this book, Swami Vivekananda on himself, that's a wonderful book. So what they have done is, of course, Swami Vivekananda did not write any autobiography, but this book has been compiled in a way where, as if Swami Vivekananda talking about himself. So that's when you get an insight into Vivekananda's life and work. And that's a wonderful thing. So you can take that book, Swami Vivekananda on himself. That will be helpful to understand Vivekananda better. And then we have an elaborate biography by Eastern and Western disciples. It's available in 2 volumes. So Life of Swami Vivekananda by Eastern and Western disciples. That's another book that I really want you to read. To understand Vivekananda, that's very important. And then maybe from 15 years back, I was talking to Swami Nityastanandaji Maharaj. He knew that I was interested in Vivekananda literature. Then he said, if you are so much interested in Vivekananda, you must read this book, he said. And he suggested me to read Swami Vivekananda in the West, New Discoveries. 6 books are there, very detailed research done by Mary Louise Burke. I mean, if you read that book, you'll really cry, because she's a foreigner. She has done so much of research. 6 books, big books, they're not small books. And all the books simply not written sitting in a room. She has gone to all the press, wherever Swami Vivekananda articles were published when he was there. She has spoken to people who were possibly present there. She has done such a deep research, and she has given her own explanation or interpretation of those events also. When you read that, so you understand Vivekananda's larger significance. When you read Vivekananda's biography or some books, you'll understand Vivekananda from an Indian perspective. But when you read what a person from a foreign origin doing so much of research, so she has done that wonderful 6. And unfortunately, not many people have read that book. This is really a misfortune for us. We are so ungrateful Indians. We don't want to spend money on books, and we don't want to spend time on books. So it's all well and good to talk about Vivekananda, but if you really want to understand him, you must put serious efforts. It's just not enough to read one Call to the Nation or some Karma Yoga some people might have read. No, you must go deeper. That's when you find such a gigantic figure standing before us. That's when we really try to understand the importance of his life. Then we feel that courage to practice his ideas in our lives also. So it's a great injustice that if you don't, take time to read, go through these wonderful books. People have done so much of research on this. And I came across another book suggested by Swamiji himself. Swami Nityastananji told me to read the book Swami Vivekananda as the Turning Point. That's a book released during the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. It has articles from people across the globe. You must read that book also. Then you'll understand what Swami Vivekananda has done in 150 years. After he, of course, he left his body 120 odd years back. But when you read that book, his influence you'll understand. I was really touched by some articles there. I think on Anjana Gangopadhyay, she has written about Vivekananda's contribution to women or something. I don't exactly recall the title of the book, of the article, but it's been made a book also. A small book it is, a small article in that book, and it's been published as a book also. But then she says what Swami Vivekananda has done for the woman. I mean, there's an extraordinary deep insight she gives in that book. You'll get an idea what is Swami Vivekananda's contribution to mankind. To women means women across the globe, not just Indian women. No, the ideal he gave to the woman also. To men, of course, we see almost everywhere what he taught, but it's not so emphasized what he has done for the woman also. So that's another book, Swami Vivekananda as the Turning Point. That book I meant to complete. I not read it fully, but I gone through the major portion of that book. But I found that that book is really a wonderful compilation. Yeah, these books are to understand Vivekananda. Then we're actually getting into the another latter part of it, that is Vivekananda literature itself. So what do we get in Vivekananda literature? So his literature, if you see, mostly is available in the complete works of Swami Vivekananda in 9 volumes. But if it's 9 volumes, if you buy these 9 volumes, you don't need to buy many other books on Swami Vivekananda. Almost everything, what he said, what he wrote, what he conversed, everything you will get in these 9 books. Of course, available on the internet, Amazon, you get free ebooks also, such a thing. We have such an access. If you read it, then you'll understand the depth of Vivekananda and his thinking process. So these complete works of Swami Vivekananda in 9 volumes is where we get everything. Of course, everybody may not be interested in reading everything that Swami Vivekananda said. That I understand. It's quite okay. Yeah. So there, but still, but one good thing is what Ashrama has done. They knew that everybody is not going to buy these 9 volumes. So they have published separate books. Letters of Swami Vivekananda, a book is available. Inspired Talks, a book is available. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all those books are available. Then Conversations and Dialogues are also recorded in a book. Talks with Vivekananda. Practical Vedanta, they made very small books also. So different kinds of books are available. But what I want to really say is, I want to take the aspects of literature. That is, what is there in the literature. First, it starts with what he said in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago. So those are the speeches he gave. So those speeches which electrified the audience, which gave a new thought current to the audience. So you will find those lectures of Swami Vivekananda spread across almost every volume has a lecture or two. That is one aspect of Vivekananda literature. Lectures, of course, depends upon the audience also. But even though it may be audience specific, I always get a feeling that when these great people speak, it's not audience specific because they speak for all eternity. I really wonder when Swami Vivekananda came from United States of America to India, and then he landed in Colombo. We have that series of lectures from Colombo to Almora. So I'm really not very sure how many people present among those audience were really inspired and how much effect it had on their lives. But I can tell you, 130 years since Swami Vivekananda gave these lectures, those lectures continue to inspire people even today. So what I mean to say is, though we may think Swami Vivekananda is speaking to an Indian audience or a Western audience or an audience in Gujarat or Bombay, no. Swami Vivekananda, I think these great people, when they speak for humanity, for all eternity. So maybe few things will change, but the central idea is going to be very much applicable. So when you read those lectures, don't be prejudiced into thinking that, oh, Swami didn't say this to me. No, 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 it's not like that. So because we can see that the Kolamoto Almora lectures, even today, people are discussing about it. How many years are over? And I'm not really sure those people who were present among those audience, could they really understand what Swami Vivekananda said? But Swami Vivekananda himself might have known that what I'm speaking today is not just for the people who are present here, but for, for all generations. So likewise with the letters also, though many things are addressed to a particular individual, but you also understand that every individual may have similar tendencies. So if say Ranjan has a problem and Swami Vivekananda is giving him a solution, if I have the same problem, it's applicable to me also. So don't ever think that this is limited to one person or that particular person. Maybe in genuine cases it may be true, but largely it's human problem. The problems are human problems. There's nothing like Naveena CK's problems. Naveena CK has some problems, but it's not necessary that it's particular to me only. So somebody in America, somebody in England may have that problem. So it's quite possible that in Vivekananda's literature, he was a great psychologist of Vivekananda. So you may find a solution to those. So these lectures, those were the clarion calls he gave. You can understand when he spoke in America, is mostly on very broad spiritual principles, bringing the world together, leading them in one direction. So that mostly talks were like that. If you read his talks, they're very broad and universal. There's nothing specific. Even he doesn't even speak much about our Hindu scriptures and all that. He just brings out the universal philosophy of Hinduism, applicable to the globe. That is lectures. Then we come to the letters. This is something quite extraordinary. Swami Vivekananda wrote so many letters, around 1,000. I have counted at 930 around it is. So those many letters he wrote. But when you read those letters, something extraordinary you will come to know. That is, he wrote letters to the kings. He wrote to the king of Mysore, then king of Khetri. Many kings he used to correspond with. So those are some type of letters he used to write. Then some letters he wrote to his brother disciples, and he wrote to some of his disciples in Chennai and all. Then he wrote to some of his friends, to some professors he used to write letters. If you read those letters and just make a fine observation there, you learn how to write a letter. And not only that, you also learn that it's important to correspond with people. So Vivekananda was giving so many lectures, he was talking so many things, doing so many things, but he was also writing so many letters. So this is an important thing. I think we often overlook this. Even though today we are connected by all the mobile and email, everything, we don't connect with people. This is not the approach for nation builders. Maybe if you are selfish, you want to stay, confined to your place and lead your life, that's maybe well and good for you. But for nation builders, this correspondence with people is absolutely important. This is one thing you learn from Vivekananda. When you read his letters, you practically understand how should a relationship be. I mean, we really neglect relationships. We don't know how to have a relationship. So Vivekananda was writing letters from America to India. He writes from India to Europe, and everything has a connection. It's a beautiful connection it has got. So these letters will teach us that we have to stay connected with people around us for the good of the world. It's not just a casual connection. Say hi, hi. That's fine. That's always there. But it's a deeper meaning behind it. A communication can have a deeper purpose. Today, our communication lacks purpose. I'm sorry to say this, but we do a lot of, yeah, I'm a part of WhatsApp groups also. Most of the times we speak all the rubbish. I mean, it has no sense. It makes no sense at the individual level, no sense at the universal level also. But if you can really, in Karma Yoga also, you'll come across this. Swami Vivekananda speaks about the power of words. He says how powerful the words are. If I call you an idiot, you're going to hit me now. But if I say some good words to you, you'll be inspired by that. Vivekananda said wonderful things. Today, they're going to inspire us. So this power of manipulating the words for the good of all, through the letters that Swami Vivekananda wrote, and whatever he did. So those letters, when you see them, you will know how to really use a word, the speaking power for good. We salute the Vagdevi Saraswati, but our communication, not just I'm talking today, but whatever I write, whatever I do, must have some more value behind it. And what value we can add into the words, that we can understand by reading Swami Vivekananda's letters. So I think that is a really wonderful thing to do. And the book is separately available for that, Letters of Swami Vivekananda, which you can definitely read. And also, of course, I said earlier, all these things are already included in the complete Letters of Swami Vivekananda. If you read that, you get all the letters there. So that is the letters of Swami Vivekananda. Then he had some very interesting personal one-to-one conversations also. That's also excellent literature. There you'll get an idea of Swami Vivekananda's vision for India, and also his advice for people to become better. Because sometimes you can't deliver a speech on certain things. When somebody comes and asks you a specific question, then the answer is given so that this problem is properly understood and addressed. So in these conversations and dialogues, we come across some silly questions also, and some extraordinarily brilliant philosophical questions also. And there are questions always asked about vegetarian food, non-vegetarian food. These things are immaterial for great people. They don't spend time, you should eat veg or non-vegetarian food. That may be a great thing for some people, but when you come across these great people, they say that don't give too much importance to this. So if you read Vivekananda's literature, and he was quite vocal about taking non-vegetarian food. People ask this question to me, even today they ask, okay, I don't want to really get into that much, but what I want to say is that these great people come to address core human issues. Whether I wear one type of cloth or eat one type of food, that is not universal. That's not very important. So the main purpose, that is the discovering of our divinity and to express it, that is the main thing. Other things, that can vary depending upon our geography and all. So these conversations and dialogues, Shishya asked Swamiji, can I take fish? Can I take meat? I'm saying this because some questions may appear, quite trivial to us, but they may have spiritual significance also. And what great people see when they people ask these questions to them. Then he also asked about the Parabrahman and all those vision of Swami Vivekananda for India, and the Maya and the evolution theory. You get all those, ideas of Swami Vivekananda when you go through these conversations and the dialogues. And I think we may be out of time. I want to say probably poetry. And Vivekananda's poetry is sublime. I think, unfortunately, we have been stressing a lot on Vivekananda's Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all these things. I mean, it's not unfortunate, it's a good thing we are doing. It has to be done. But unfortunately, we are not stressed upon Vivekananda's literature, I mean, poetry. That poetry is equally sublime. If you read Vivekananda's poetry, I mean, how inspiring they are. I think Song of the Sannyasin is, though it's for a sannyasin, everybody can refer to that song. And there are, some poems like Hold On, At a While, Brave Heart. And one poem I really liked was The Cup. In The Cup, he says, I mean, this, and I have included these poems in my book also. The cup, this is a thing, people have this question. I have this problem in life. God has given me so much difficulties and all this stuff. This is beautifully expressed in that poem, The Cup assigned to you from the beginning. And this is, I can't really go into details about it, but I can tell you that those literature, this poetry of Vivekananda can be highly inspiring. You must actually spend some time, spending time just going through Vivekananda's poetry, because poetry does not have any kind of a work pressure. It's mostly for the mind, for the soul, that can really help us to understand Vivekananda better, and it becomes more close to us when you read his poetry. He appears like a human being, though he is divine, but even with that, the touch of human comes in Vivekananda's poetry. And I really think one should read Vivekananda's poetry with more attention. There is devotion in this poetry. Of course, he wrote the Kandana, Govandana, and then Homrim, Achandala, and all. And Shiva also got a few. But there are many others applicable to every person who may not be devoted, who may not be bhakta in that sense, but to help his own growth. Swami Vivekananda's poetry is very, very inspiring and really gives solace to the soul. So I think I have almost come to the end of it. Sorry, I think I may be running out of time. Uh, I just wanted to touch upon Swami Vivekananda's travelogues. So Swami Vivekananda traveled a lot. I think you know that he traveled a lot of countries, and you should read his travelogue also. East and the West is published as a book also. There you'll really come across Swami Vivekananda's humorous side, how he explains certain things. And with deep humor, behind humor also is a great philosophy behind it. And he also goes to certain, how he prepare the food also. And especially during his travels, he went to Japan and China. And then you see his mind working all the time to understand human evolution, how human beings are evolving everywhere. And he used to say that Japan can be a very inspirational nation for us. And China also used to price very highly. And wherever he went, he always had a word of positive encouragement about the people of that particular nation he went to. So this Vivekananda's travelogues, they're very educative. very easy to read also. And Vivekananda himself used to say that if you talk philosophy every time, people will get bored. So you must include, stuff like travelogue also. And his own life, you find that the travelogue is really wonderful. You should read that to understand India also, because there he goes deeply into this question of food. People ask this question, and also he speaks about this diabetes and all those problems we are facing today. Vivekananda had a solution for this. If you go through that Vivekananda's travelogue, the East and the West, so we'll come across Vivekananda advising to avoid indigestion, what type of food causes indigestion to us. And he used to say that being fat or being thin, lack of weight, so both are due to indigestion. So he had a scientific brain, and used to say, be in the open air, walk in the morning and evenings, take long walks with muscles in the hand, and legs should be hard as iron. So you'll come across these things also. So Swami Vivekananda literature is not just about the philosophy, it's about life. So life, starting from the most minute details, starting from the time we wake up till we go to bed, it's quite possible to take Vivekananda everywhere, whatever we do. And I just want to conclude because I think I really probably gone out of time. But thing is, we should really remember reading Vivekananda is Vivekananda is relevant for us. I'm just stressing upon this point. And the more we read him, the more we try to understand him. I think I just shared a quote a couple of days back. I was very inspired because actually Swami himself has said this. He has said that if you can remember what I say, think on it, digest it. Remember these lines. If you can remember what I say, think on it, digest it, then it becomes yours. Whatever Vivekananda has said, if you can remember them, think of them, and digest them, it becomes ours. Then he says it will lift you higher. So his thoughts will lift us higher. He himself has said this, and it will make us live in truth. So I think I couldn't really close my talk with a much better saying of Vivekananda himself. So let us try to remember Vivekananda. Let us think of him. Let us try to digest him, as he said, and that will really lift us higher. So with these words, I would like to conclude. I really thank Mangalore University for giving this opportunity. So there was a hesitant to talk about Vivekananda because it's difficult to talk about him. But then I thought I should talk because I really don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about Vivekananda. Thank you, Ranjan. Thank you, everybody. Namaste.
Thank you, Naveenji, for such a wonderfully presented the entire topic on Swamiji. So it's really an inspiring for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranjan.
Due to some technical issue, just a minute. Yes. Yes, so indeed, it was very inspiring as you suggested a lot of books to study. To start with the reminiscence of Swami Vivekananda, or maybe Swami Vivekananda on himself, and the books such as the complete works of Swami Vivekananda Turning Point. This kind of books are much inspiring for all of us, and the youngsters can start reading the books, say Reminiscence of Swami Vivekananda, or maybe the letters of Swami Vivekananda to start with, or maybe a even simple version of books. Certainly we do have that is in a short life of Swami Vivekananda. Also we have in our book-stalls where the youngsters can come and buy the books in the Ramakrishna Mission bookstall, or else you can also order in Amazon, where you can study for a greater understanding.
They can also order. They can also order from SwamiVivekananda.net.
Oh yes, yes, certainly. Where if the free books also available in the SwamiVivekananda.net, and the more contents also available in SwamiVivekananda.guru. Make use of those two websites.
And I just want to add, Vani has a wonderful collection, Vivekvani.com. There you can get a lot of these ebooks. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes, even in our Instagram also, Vivek Vani is much popular, where a lot of youngsters are coming and reading Swami Vivekananda. Dear friends, please go through. And the talk which is delivered by Naveen ji is also available on the YouTube again, where the Ramakrishna Mission YouTube channel, where you can go through and watch it again for your further references. So let us move for the next segment of the series. We have among with us the special invitee of the day, Shri Dilip CS, Climate Change and Environmental Sustainable Consultant, UNICEF. At the young age, he's got an amazing exposure from the point of the service, I can say, where Shri Dilip ji is from Karnataka, and he's traveled across the country and the globe, and but let me put a few words on his bio. As a true champion of social change and the community development, with a master's in a degree in a social work from University of Mysore. Mr. Dilip has dedicated his life to serving those in need and making a positive impact in the society. During his college days, Mr. Dilip worked as a volunteer with the various social development organization and the NGOs. In 2019, Mr. Dilip served as a disaster risk reduction consultant in Bagalkot district administration, where he helped UNICEF to support the community during the flood issues. So he's also had a lot of achievement in his bag, where currently he works as a climate change and environmental sustainability CCES consultant for Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka state, where he is making a significant impact in promoting sustainable practices and environmental awareness. He is also a director at a Clean Mysuru Foundation and a member of NSS Advisory Committee of Bangalore University and Bangalore City University. So we are very glad to have Dilip ji over here. So can you please turn on your camera and can you please unmute yourself, Dilip ji?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So we are very excited to hear you for a few words on this occasion, Dilip ji. Please, over to you.
Namaste. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Can you please turn on the camera if you don't mind?
Okay, 1 second, I'll just check.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
No, it's not.
No?
No, also it is not visible, but we can hear you. If it is any technical issues, we can hear you, no problem. Meanwhile, you just check it once if possible.
Yeah, certainly. 1 second. Give me a minute.
Yeah. So we got a wonderful feedback in the feedback section where, now you are back with the camera. Yes. So Mr. Rajat has said that it's very inspiring talk, and Ms. Harshita MV she said that it is a simplest form to understand and suits even this period of time, the finest one. And Mr. ex-serviceman B. Gopinath Rao has said that it's truly inspiring. ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆಯ ವಿವೇಕ ರಿಂಗಣ ಧನ್ಯ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ. That's what this feedback is. Thank you, sir. Yeah, let's move towards our special invitee, Shri Dilip. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Distinguished guests, esteemed speaker, faculty members, dear students, organizers, and participants joined across the world. It is my great pleasure and privilege to be here today to address you at this important virtual event organized by the Mangalore University Swami Vivekananda Study Centers, Mangaluru. I would like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to Sri Naveen CKG, the previous speaker, for his engaging, detailed, and insightful presentation on the inspiring journey and teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Thank you, Naveen ji. Also, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations and gratitude to all the entire team involved in empowering young people on their spiritual journey by organizing series of Viveka Vani lecture for the benefit of the student community and the general public. At the same time, I would like to mark my sincere gratitude to Priya Ranjanji and all other organizers for extending this invitation to me and providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences with such an inspiring and talented audience today. So, as we gather here today, let us reflect on three key areas that can truly inspire and transform the lives of youth: venturing beyond academics, connecting and global causes, and the importance of discipline in life. Firstly, venturing beyond academics is critical to personal growth and development. While education is essential, it is equally important to develop other aspects of ourselves. For example, developing life skills, developing social skills and emotional intelligence, and pursuing our passions, engaging in extracurricular activities such as NSS, NCC, Bharat Scouts and Guides, Youth Red Cross, cultural festivals, and participating in eco club activities, etc. All these volunteering experiences are an excellent ways to develop ourselves holistically. To give you a little example of mine, during my time as a master's student in social work, I actively engaged with the various social development organizations and volunteering my time and efforts to make a difference in my local community. To give you an example, I volunteered with the Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement, SVYM in Mysuru, where I was a part of the project called We Lead Parisara. This initiative involved a door-to-door campaign spanning around 6 to 7 months, especially in the wards such as 26, 27, 28, and 29 in Hebal. As a volunteer, I committed my mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to this environmental conservation cause. During this time, we formed a small WhatsApp group called Clean Mysuru. We thought of sharing all of our regular door-to-door campaign updates in the WhatsApp group, which has since evolved into a registered Clean Mysuru Foundation. Today, we collaborated with the closely with the Mysore City Corporation, district administration, and other non-profit organizations working towards environmental conservation. So I'm sharing this story to emphasize the incredible impact that a single idea can have on this planet. Just one idea fueled by passion and commitment can create meaningful change in the society. It is crucial that we foster an ecosystem where our young volunteers feel supported and encouraged to test their innovative ideas in addressing the pressing issues which we are facing today. By empowering our young minds to take on these challenges, we can create a better future for all of us. So there are countless inspiring success stories of individuals who have pursued their passions and made a significant impact on the world. Today, I would like to share with you one more such powerful example, which demonstrates the potential of nurturing our passions to create a meaningful change. The story is all about a young Indian entrepreneur named Arunachalam Muruganathan. So Arunachalam was deeply concerned about the lack of affordable sanitary products, especially for rural women in India. Despite being a school dropout and facing immense social stigma, he pursued his passion for innovation and developed a low-cost sanitary pad-making machine. Along the way, Arunachalam encountered numerous challenges, but he perceived, believing in the importance of his mission to improve the lives of women in the rural areas. Today's Arunachalam's invention has not only improved the lives of mission of women, but it has also created a lot of employment opportunities in the country for many individuals and families. His success serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of nurturing our passions and using them to make a positive impact on the world. Regardless of our circumstances, challenges, or difficulties we may face, by following our passions, we too have the power to create a lasting change and contribute to a better future for our upcoming generations. And connecting to a global causes can inspire young people and help them understand their role in shaping the future. A perfect example of this is the story of Greta Thunberg, a young Swedish environmental activist at just 15 years old. Greta began skipping school to protect the lack of action on climate change. Her solitary protest soon transformed into the global movement, with million young people throughout the world participating in climate strikes to demand action for their governments. So Greta's story illustrates that the power of single individual to inspire change on a global scale. It also underscores the importance of connecting to global causes and working together to address the challenges we face as a global community. By engaging with these global issues, young people can develop a sense of purpose and contribute to create a better world for everyone. Many people will, go through their life never ever, discovering their gifts. So we strongly, help our, young people to develop their gifts, their talents, their ideas, their capabilities, their caliber, to identify their purpose and passion, to become the voice of their own local communities. So moreover, so Swami Vivekananda's teachings can serve as a source of inspiration and motivation for all of us. He encouraged young people to seek knowledge, and he advised all of us to be fearless and have confidence in themselves. He also emphasized the importance of service to others and the need to work towards a greater cause. As we progress in life, let us keep Swami Vivekananda's teachings in our mind and to strive to make a positive impact on the world by exploring beyond academics, connecting to global causes, and embracing disciplines in our lives. We can create a brighter future for ourselves and generations to come. Let us work together, guided by the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda ji, as explained by our another speaker, Sri Naveen CKG, to build a world where everyone has an opportunity to flourish and to make a difference. Together, we can inspire one another, challenge ourselves to grow and to build a peaceful world and to transform the world for the better. With each small step, we are creating a legacy of positive change that will resonate far into the future. So let us go for with a passion, purpose, and the knowledge that united we can overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. By saying this, I congratulate and appreciate by marking my sincere thanks to Ranjanji as well as the Mangalore University Swami Vivekananda Study Center for organizing these kind of insightful series of Viveka Vani lectures for the benefit of the entire global community. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dilip sir. Thank you so much for your making out the valuable time of yours to share your thoughts to the participants. Thank you so much. We are looking forward for your presence in Mangalore in the near coming days so that we can hear you more on the global climate issues. Thank you so much.
Certainly, sir.
Yes.
You're also doing a lot of, you have taken a lot of revolutionary steps and the, great visionary leadership of Ramakrishna Ashrama, Mangaluru.
Yes.
So we are truly inspired by the active participation which the MUT is taking ahead.
Yes, MUT has been taken the Swachh Mangalore Abhiyan to the greater heights. Certainly, we are continuing in our own capacity. Thank you so much, Dilip ji, for recognizing that effort. So I recognize the presence of Professor Paul G. Aquinas from the Department of Social Work. I recognize the presence of Dr. Chandru Hegde, Chairman of Department of Mathematics of Mangalore University. So I also recognize the other faculty friends who are present over here. So let me, if you have any question, please raise your hands and we'll allow you and you can ask a question directly to the speaker. Meanwhile, I got a message, the WhatsApp, asking that Naveen sir, ತಾವು ತಿಳಿಸಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಳಿಸಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧ್ಯಯನಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಕುರಿತಾದಂತಹ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು. Have for the message, the books which you can recommend in Kannada, Kannada ಆಸಕ್ತರಿಗೆ.
ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬುಕ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ. ರೆಮಿನಿಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬಂದು ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಟೈಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇವಾಗ. ಮೊದಲು ಅದು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದರ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಪುಸ್ತಕ. ಇವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಓದಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರ ಬಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮಾನಂದರು, ವೀರ ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ, ವಿಶ್ವ ಮಾನವ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ, ವಿಶ್ವ ವಿಜೇತ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅಂತ 3 ಪುಸ್ತಕನ ಅವರು ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವೇನು ಬಯೋಗ್ರಫಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. ಟರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಬಹುಶಃ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಹುಶಃ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಕೃತಿಶ್ರೇಣಿ 9 ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದರು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಬೋಧನೆಗಳು ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವರ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮಾನಂದ 3 ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನ ಓದ್ಬೋದು. ಸೋಮನಾಥನಂಜು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಜೀವನ ಚರಿತ್ರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕುವೆಂಪು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಿಷನ್ ನ ಪ್ರಕಾಶನದಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಒಂದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಬಾಲಸುಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯಂ ಅವರ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಂತೆ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅಂತ, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲಿ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಂತೆ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅಂತ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದಷ್ಟು ಅವರು ಆ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು ಪ್ರಜಾವಾಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಪುಸ್ತಕ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಸಹ ತಾವು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕಿದೆಯಾ ನವೀನ್ ಸರ್?
ಹೌದೌದು. ಈಗ ಬೇಲ್ದೂರ್ ಮಠ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈಗ ಅವರು ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ. ಬೇಲ್ದೂರ್ ಮಠ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಂತ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಕೃತಿಶ್ರೇಣಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಕೀರ್ತನ ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಭಜನೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸುವಂತದ್ದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ವಚನವೇದ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಯಾವ್ದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ್ರ ಅಥವಾ ಗುರುಮಾರ ಮದರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯೂನಿಕೋಡರ್ ಇದೆ, ಕನ್ನಡ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಓದ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಅಥೆಂಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಅದಂತೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Just for those who can understand Kannada. So the Belur Math website has a link for the online reading room where you can get lot of these books. I think most of these complete works is definitely there. In addition to that, there are many other books freely available for reading online. So do go to the Belur Math website. From there you get a link to the reading room. I think that will be very useful. It's a great thing they have done, because there are literature available outside, but most of them are not authentic. And Wikimedia, the wiki source, they have a lot of spelling mistakes also. But if you go to the authentic source, you are most likely to get a very proofread material to read.
Yes, thank you so much. You can also read a book by Naveen ji called Be One with God. It's a beautiful compilation of Swamiji's thoughts, which is available in the swamivivekananda.net. Also it is available, you can order. From Amazon also you can order. It's a really amazing book. Even he has gifted nearly about 50 copies to the ashram, so that we have given those books to the VIPs and the guests of Mangalore ashram, whoever comes to our ashram. So it's worth keeping in your library and for your personal studies, I can say. So I got a feedback in the comment section telling that if you start the series in the Kannada, rural students can easily grasp the idea. Yes, madam, certainly in the near future we will try to incorporate your suggestion. As now we are into the study center of Bangalore University, we kept this lecture series in English, so that these thoughts will be kept recorded, and in the future the university publications will help us to bring out in the form of books, so that it can be internationally referred by the scholars. That's also we have a thought. So in that note, we will certainly, we are planning to start a Vivek Vani series in the colleges, in the offline, in the near future. Maybe June or July, the academic year will start in a fresh mode. So we are planning to start in the offline mode also. We will get back to you with the updates. So please stay back in the Viveka Vani WhatsApp groups, so that we will keep on posting on the updates of our study center of Mangalore University Swami Vivekananda Study Center. So thank you so much. This is what all about the Viveka Vani lecture number 24. We are heading towards the last segment of the series, that is Vote of Thanks by Arti K. She is the lecturer in sociology from KSS College Subramania, Sri Kukke Subramanyeshwara Swami's college. So, madam, can you please turn on the camera? Hello, ma'am. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yes, madam.
Good evening, all. It is my pleasure to express my heartfelt thanks to all those. I'm audible now, sir.
Yes, madam. Please go
Who
ahead.
have made this event? Who have made this event possible? I would like to thank today's speaker, Sri Naveen CK, founder Swami Vivekananda, Indian Revival Movement, Mysuru. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, sir, and this will surely be going to encourage us in future. My special thanks to today's special invitee of this program, Sri Dilip CS, Climate Change and Environment Sustainable Consultant, UNICEF, for his valuable words. I would like to thank Mr. Shripati Kaluraya, coordinator of this program, for wonderfully organizing this program in his absence. My thanks to Sri Ranjan sir for welcoming this program. My special thanks to Ramakrishna Mission for true support in organizing this program. I thank all the participants, those who have made this program very much successful. My thanks to all the professors, faculty members of various departments and colleges for your participation. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your presence and your feedback also. Thank you so much. We will be noted. Hence, in the near future, we will come to your college also. It's always
welcome,
a pleasure to visit the rural campus, which is running successfully in the Kukke Subramania. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So I also thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Edapaditaya, and the Registrar Sir, and all the faculty friends of Mangalore University. So hereby we conclude the 24th lecture of Viveka Vani series. The same lecture is available on the YouTube channel of Ramakrishna Math Mangaluru. We have a special playlist where you can hear the previous lectures which was streamed live in the YouTube with feedbacks and question and answers also available, which was quite long lectures of 1.5 hours. If you want a particular lecture, you can go back to the Swami Vivekananda Study Center YouTube channel, where we edited the exclusive lecture by the speakers, and we have posted that. So do not miss that. You can go back and hear the previous lectures also by Swamiji's and eminent speakers. So meanwhile, I repeat again that the book suggested by today's speaker Naveen ji, where you can start with a short life of Swami Vivekananda to start with, and on the other hand, you can also go with for advanced studies. You can go Reminiscence and letters of Swami Vivekananda. Further, for the mastery level, you can go Complete Works and Mary Louise Burke's New Discovery books also you can study. So I have got a very young participant of day, Mr. Ashish Kaundinya of grade 6 from Sandur, Karnataka, to know about Swami Vivekananda. Which book I can read? Naveenji, it comes again to you. He is from grade 6, so you should help him to start with a very small books so that he can read Swami Vivekananda. He was in the lecture throughout for about 1.5 hours right now. So please suggest books to Ashish.
Yeah, you are a 6th standard student. I'm really happy that you were able to participate in this event, and more importantly, to connect with Vivekananda at that age. I heard Vivekananda's name, I think, when I was in 8th standard. And that too, it was just written in my school plaque. I studied in Sadvidya High School. So there they wrote Swami Vivekananda had come here. But there was nothing else there. I didn't read any book of Vivekananda. I didn't listen any talk of Swamiji. But you are in 6th standard and you're already into Swami Vivekananda. Actually, this is a wonderful thing because we organize an event every year. So what happened was this 2 years we didn't have an event because of Corona. So this year, one participant he came and spoke. We have a competition. So then I asked him, like, he spoke quite well. I was surprised, like, how can he speak so well? Then he told me that he had come to attend our annual program when he was in sixth standard. So then he was able to speak after 3 4 years. He gave a very good speech. I forgot his name, but what it shows is sixth standard children are very capable of understanding and appreciating. Um, so for you, I really suggest you should read. You can start with that comic book. Like we have a book in Ramakrishna Mission. Vivekananda tells stories like Vivekananda for children. They are almost like cartoon books. You can start with that. It's always good to start with those books. Then there's a book in Kannada, Bhavya Jivana Divya Sandesha. That's a very good book. I don't know if you follow Kannada or English, but I think you're mostly you can follow English, Kannada. I think so. You can read that book, and also I think Kuvempu's book will be really good for you because it's almost like poetic. When you read these great poets, that comes from front of our eyes. So I suggest you start with that. And I think at this age, it will be good if you can also kind of simply go through inspired talks. Inspired talks will really inspire you, and this is the age where you can get the sublime ideas very easily because your minds are uncomplicated, very simple, and they have a deep power of concentration. So I think you really benefit. And Vivekananda used to say this: "I can teach Vedanta in such a way that a child can also understand." And he wanted the children to really understand the Vedanta philosophy in the earliest possible age. Even he used to quote that example of Madalasa. She used to, she had a baby. The moment the baby is born, she would put him in the cradle and start singing the Vedanta song. You are the pure one, you are the blessed one, you are a mighty one. So he used to say that even a newborn child can understand these ideas. So sixth standard, definitely can understand. I think inspired talk you should really read. Doesn't really matter if you don't understand all the big ideas of Brahman and all, but get those ideas into your brain. I think they will work their way out. I am sure if you start with Vivekananda now, biography and inspired talks, I think you can start with those books and then go to the ashrama bookstall, pick any book you like. That's the way I think you should go about it, because somehow there is an instinctive inspiration in a man to go and get the book that he really likes and he deserves. I really believe in the deserving, because when I went to library, there was thousands of books were there, but I used to end up in picking a book which is to my liking. So I think that should be one way everybody should do, especially you being there. I can't suggest from my perspective which books you should read. I can just tell one or two books, but when you actually go to the ashrama bookstore, I think Mangalore ashrama is a very beautiful bookstore, such a nice one. Mysore also, Bangalore also. You go to those bookstores maybe once in a month or something like that. Just go and stand in front of those books. Whichever book you like, you pick it. Vivekananda is someone like, you pick one book, you pick another, then you pick another, you read them, and you are fully occupied with Vivekananda. So I really feel that you can start with those three books, but then I would really want you to go to ashrama, then see for yourself and pick the book of your choice that that goes well with your system. Thank you.
Due to some technical issues, there was a network issue. So thank you so much, Naveen, for the detailed reply to the young boy. So he can read Short Life of Swami Vivekananda and Inspired Talks. And he can also watch, YouTube talks, which is available by Swami Sarvapananji, or maybe the movie on Swami Vivekananda. Also, you can Vivekananda by Vivekananda is a movie. It is available in YouTube, where the youngsters can watch. If you are lazy to read books, you can go and start reading. And there is a lot of podcast audio books also available. And Mangalore Ashrama has prepared a Tudu audio book where the complete short life of Swami Vivekananda was written in Tudu by one of the renowned Tudu person, area Lakshminarayan Advachi, that was translated to Tudu, and we had made a Tudu version of that also. You can hear that, and audiobooks also certainly will help you out.
Yeah,
So
Ashish, I'll just get back to you. You should also read
Yeah.
these three books: Vishwamana Vivekananda, Vira Sannyasi Vivekananda, Vishwavijeta Vivekananda, ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮಾನಂದ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು. ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಓದ್ಬೋದು. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಪುಸ್ತಕನ ಅದ್ ಬುಕ್ ನೀನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಓದ್ಬೋದು.
Yes, so hereby we'll conclude the 24th lecture of the series. Thank you, Naveenji. Thank you, Dilipji. Thank you, Aarti Madam, and all the delegates and the guests. Thank you so much for your valuable presence. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you so much. Namaste. Jai Hind.